Felix Show. Presented by your neighborhood piano dealer. Every Saturday afternoon at this time, your neighborhood piano store presents the nationally famous pianist, composer, and piano instructor, Felix in a program for your enjoyment and instruction. And here, with the only show of its kind on television, is Felix
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The theme of our little show this afternoon, Lesson 3, which I'm in, is the player piano. This is a mechanical marvel which was very important when I was a boy and up to some years ago. But it has a particularly nostalgic place in my memories because I learned to play popular music, such as it is, from watching a player piano. I was playing the piano in a silent movie house in South Africa. And every once in a while, one of the movies would need a theme that they didn't have a role for, so I was called in to supply the old-fashioned manual way of playing a piano. But actually, we used to learn playing popular music, because in those days it wasn't a highly specialized art as it is nowadays. And we would watch the notes as they went down and would try and gather how the men played it. Incidentally, two very famous men who played a lot of player piano roles were Oman and Arden. Phil Oman, whom I knew quite well, used to have a band at Ciro's. And then there was Max Kortlander, whom I never met. But I would like to play for you, if I may, an arrangement of 3 o'clock in the morning, which I learned from a player piano roll, and I will try and bring back to you the old days of the player piano. That was 3 o'clock in the morning, played player piano style. Presumably that was supposed to have been Big Ben striking 3 at the beginning and at the end. Incidentally, I brought a piano roll with me here. It has a certain bearing upon our lessons. Our director, Hap Wyman, suggested I should. The principle was actually very simple. a roll of paper with holes in it, which were calibrated to fit onto a rod through which air was pumped, and afterwards, of course, they civilized the gadget by putting a little electric pumper in it. And as the air went through these, as the roll was moving across, each of those little holes was connected with a rubber pipe, and it would strike the note. The strange part of it is that while we were trying to sound like player pianos, the manufacturers were desperately trying to make the player piano sound like human beings. It's rather one of those peculiarities of human nature. But it had such a great hold on people that there was even a tune written which glorified the old player piano. And this one I'm going to try and make it sound as much like an old mechanical player piano as possible. It's quite difficult, incidentally, because most of these player pianos were played by two people and there were an awful lot of notes in them. I'm going to try. I hope I don't make it sound too bad. This is the old player piano blues. Now just close your eyes and imagine that you're pumping away at the old player piano. That was, I hope, a fairly good imitation of the old player piano. And now, before I give lesson 3, I think it is today, here is Dal Williams with an interesting message for all of you.
Friends, now you can actually learn to play piano by television. Felix DeCola's famous course of piano lessons, one lesson each week for 12 consecutive weeks, is now available free of charge at your neighborhood piano store. That's right, no cost and no obligation. Simply stop in each week at the nearby store making this offer, pick up your free lesson, and the following Saturday, Felix DeCola personally conducts the lesson for you here on the Felix DeCola Show. You don't even need a piano, really, because the 4-octave keyboard is also provided free of charge, enabling you to follow and enjoy the lessons. So hurry, get your free lessons while the supply lasts this week at one of these stores. In Sherman Oaks at Ham's, 4505 Van Nuys Boulevard. In Studio City, Netzo Pianos at 12324 Ventura Boulevard. In Burbank, Joe Riley Music, 316 North San Fernando. In Glendale, the Glendale Music Company at 238 North Brand Boulevard. In Pasadena, Gould Music Company at 1296 East Colorado. In Alhambra, Gould Music Company at 941 East Main. In West Covina, Keynote Music Company, 225 South Glendora Avenue. In Riverside, Cheney's Music House at 3931 Main Street. In Santa Ana, Schaefer's Music House at 421 North Sycamore. In Long Beach, McCreary's at 334 Pine Avenue. In Inglewood, Graham Piano Company, 215 East Regent. In West Hollywood, Lester Piano Distributors at 7200 Beverly Boulevard, and in Los Angeles at Manning's Piano Company, 2251 Venice Boulevard and 5740 Wilshire Boulevard. Get your free piano lessons and 4-octave keyboard at one of these stores, and you'll be ready to join in lesson number 4 on our program next week. Now, back to Felix DeCola.
Thank you, Hap Williams. Dal Williams, I beg your pardon. Last week, I invited you to write to me and have me send one of those worksheets. I must admit that I didn't know the power of television. I got so many letters that I think that it is best that I should make these worksheets available to our sponsoring stores. They will be sent out to them, and then you can call for them. I got several other letters, and those that need answering of a general nature, may I answer them. This one is from Mrs. Clifford Crichton, the evangelist. She wanted to know about other courses. I have an advanced course, and do I still sell it? Yes, I do. It costs $5. And let me see. Oh, yes, and here was a question about the tails of the notes up or down. I'll go into that in a moment. But please remember that if you want a copy of the worksheet, go to the store, your piano store, and pick it up in conjunction with Lesson 4, which is available. I have a little disappointment for you this afternoon. My daughter, Joan, could unfortunately not be with us, but I have an almost endless supply of children. I've got 2 more, and I'm going to put them both on. One plays the clarinet. I'm not going to impose that on you, and the little girl plays the piano in a very mediocre fashion, but I think we'll have some fun. Here they are. The little lady, my youngest girl child, is Felicity. This is Phyllis, we call her, and this is Buddy, or Lee, as we call him. He's the clarinet player. He ain't no Benny Goodman, but I won't let you judge that. Now, you sit at the treble, and you sit in... Yes, that's right. Now, the little girl actually is a beginner in piano. A little boy knows more about the value of notes. Let me see. We're going to start now with actually playing. And Cindy, how long have you been trying to learn to play the piano, Phyllis?
Well,
Don't let them not tell them. In Lesson 3, which I hope many of you have, we start off putting together pitch, which is where the note is, and the value of the note. Last week I explained that the notes were whole notes, half notes, quarters, and eighths. Now, Phyllis, what is this note? Or let me draw it here, then the public can see it. What note? What type of note is that? Oh, now, calm.
is it a half note?
No. Half note's got the tail. What sort of a note is it, Buddy?
That's a whole note.
Well, he has to know because he plays in the school orchestra. You haven't any musical responsibilities as yet. The half note is a slightly smaller note with a tail. Now, to answer the question which this lady had, and probably many of you have, the tail goes down on notes when they're high up, and it goes up when notes are low down. The idea being that if you did it the other way round, you would find, if you had the tails going down and up this way, that it has a tendency to distract your eye from the line of vision. Now, we're going to play 5 notes. This is middle C. You know where that is, Phyllis, don't you? Go on, find it. That's right. And you better play with your right hand down here. Now, the hand position of the young man is not going to be too good, clarinet. Your hand position should be good. Now, you play this in whole notes. That is, how many counts to each?
4.
That's right. 4 what?
4 counts.
Counts of what?
Beats?
Beats. What are the beats worth? I mean, there must be some value to them. What does it say in the beginning here?
4 4.
Fourths. In other words, the unit of counting is the quarter. 3/4 time is 3/4. All right. Now, I'll count 4 for you, and then you play the notes that are there. Don't look at me. Look at the notes there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play together. That's right. Now, let's do it in half notes. How many quarters to each half note, Phyllis?
How many what?
How many what? This is typical. How many quarter notes to each half note, or half note, should I say?
2 counts.
2 counts. 2 what counts? What are they worth?
1/4 note.
Yes, they're worth 1/4 note. That's right. Now play that in half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. Now, what is this line here with the 2 dots? In other words, it's got 2 lines down like that, and there are 2 dots here. What is that, Phyllis?
Means to repeat?
Yes, repeat everything that goes before it. You had a question this afternoon, wanting to know how often to repeat this?
Yes.
You just repeat it once. But in an exercise, when they put that repeat, it means that you just keep on playing it until you know it. But in ordinary music, it's optional. You either repeat or not. Now, what does a dot do when it comes after a note?
Well, it gives it another count.
Well, not exactly. What does a dot do to a note?
Is-
No, I'll ask Buddy now, or
well,
Lee.
in the case of a half note, it would give it another beat. In the case of a quarter note, it would give it a half a beat.
In other words, how would you define what is a dot in music? What does the dot do to the
The
note?
dot gives the note half of its original.
That's right. In other words, incidentally, what would a whole note be worth if you put a dot after it?
6 count.
Very good. You know, most people say 5. I'll give you top honors for that one. Even adults very often say, put a dot after a half note, it makes it worth 3. Put a dot after a whole note, it makes it worth 5. Well, I always liked maths. Perhaps you're your father's son. Now, let's do it in 3s. These are dotted half notes. All right, I'll count 3, and then you start. And please play together. 1, 2, 3. Both of you, it doesn't really matter in your case because you're learning very clarinet. Don't stick your fingers up in the air that way. Concentrate on the particular finger that you're playing. See? All right, just that way. Just play a few notes, any notes at all. Yes, that's right. Have your hands relaxed a little more. You're much too tense. Now, let's do it in half notes and quarter notes. That's worth 2, that's worth 1. Now, that's 1, 2, 3. You're late. Go on,
You
1.
can give us 3 beats.
Well, I'll give you 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Now in quarter notes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give you 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And rub your hands. His hand looks like an infuriated spider when he plays. Well, you play the clarinet. Now, in the left hand, you do exactly the same thing. This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is lesson 3 that we're doing now. And please go to your piano store, any of our sponsoring store, and pick up lesson 1, 2, and 3. And incidentally, lesson 4 is going to be available to you from this afternoon onwards. Buddy, you asked me a question a little while ago about what I did if one of the notes on the piano isn't striking. This is a problem that sometimes arises, and I always answer it by giving the experience of a friend of mine, South Africa, many years before you were born. He was a one-piece piano player. He somehow managed to learn to play Annie Laurie. And he would play this thing at the drop of a hat. He would always hover around the piano at a party until somebody would say, "Oh, Mr. Jones, won't you please play something?" Well, he was asked to play once, and he found that one of the notes on the piano wasn't striking. So being a very resourceful young man, he thought, well, I'll play the note next to the one that isn't striking. It's only about a quarter of an inch difference. And this is how Annie Laurie sounded. Sound wrong? Only a little bit. Oh, I almost forgot. That was Annie Laurie with the wrong note in it. On the back of musical terms and abbreviations. For instance, Phyllis, what does adagio mean?
Very slow.
Incidentally, we had a cat. We still have him. He's called Adagio. We had another one called Presto, but he is no more, unfortunately. He may live too quickly or rapidly. What does Presto mean?
It means fast and quickly.
Quickly. Prestissimo?
And that means very fast.
Very fast.
Just less fast.
That's right. And then, of course, there are the signs like the letter P stands for what?
Piano.
And what does the letter F stand for?
Pianissimo.
No, double.
Pardon me. I was, the F forte.
Forte. Incidentally, here is an interesting history as to why the piano is called a piano. It was originally known as the pianoforte, or the soft loud. After the harpsichord and clavichord, it was the only instrument that could play softly and loudly. And they called it the pianoforte, the soft loud. And now we just call it the piano. Did you know that?
No, but I heard that the piano and the instruments, they're the same. I just wondered about it.
Oh, I see. You mean why the name for soft is the same as the piano. Well, that is the reason it was called the pianoforte. Well, thank you very much. I'll see you at home later on. This is Lee, and this is Felix. I hope in a few weeks' time she'll be able to really play a little bit. I hope you all practice more than she does. And now, before we go on to the concluding portion of this program, here once again is Dal Williams.
Friends, remember that the Felix DeCola TV piano course, consisting of 12 separate lessons with sheet music, full instructions, note guide, and 4-octave keyboard, is available free of charge only at the fine neighborhood stores who bring you this program. These stores specialize in the finest pianos and musical instruments, and they bring you this program in the public interest, dedicated to your enjoyment and instruction. You can pick up your free lessons, one each week, and on the following Saturday, Felix DeCola will conduct and fully explain the lesson of the week. And even if you do not have a piano, by using the 4-octave keyboard, you can follow each lesson and actually learn to play piano by television. Here again are the stores presenting the free lessons. In Sherman Oaks, at Hams. In Studio City, Netso Pianos. In Burbank, Joe Riley Music. In Glendale, the Glendale Music Company. In Pasadena, Gould Music Company. In Alhambra, Gould Music Company. In West Covina, the Keynote Music Company. In Riverside, Cheney's Music House. In Santa Ana, Schaefer's Music House. In Long Beach, McCreary's. In Inglewood, the Graham Piano Company. In West Hollywood, Lester Piano Distributors. And in Los Angeles, at Manning's Piano Company. Remember, supplies are limited. Be sure to stop in at your first opportunity to get your free Felix DeCola piano lessons. Now back to Felix DeCola.
Thank you, Dal Williams. You know, it is rather strange that the success or failure of this program depends upon your accepting a free gift. So please go into your piano store and pick up the free lessons. Every week, at least last week, I immortalized the name Alice, and this week I'm going to take the letter B and take the name Barbara. For those of you that haven't seen me do this, let me explain that music is made up of the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, F, G, and most names have 1 or 2 of these letters. The name Barbara, incidentally, I looked up. It means a foreigner. I don't know why. Tell me, do people who live in Santa Barbara, are they known as Santa Barbarians or Santa Barbarans? I've never been able to find out. Anyway, the Barbara has a B and an A and a B and an A. No, B-A, yes, and another A. To me, the name Barbara has always, I suppose I knew some Barbaras that were rather quiet and very genteel. So this is what the theme suggests. These are the notes. And here is a piece of music based on that theme, dedicated to all the Barbaras within earshot and without earshot. You have a friend called Barbara. Here is the theme. That was a piece of music dedicated to all the Barbaras in the world. And if your name happens to be Barbara or you know somebody by that name, I hope you liked it. Some time ago, I played a number by a particular favorite of mine, Jerome Kern. I would like to play one of his greatest numbers, and I played this for Mr. Kern at his house, and he said he liked the arrangement, so I hope you do. He promised me an autographed copy of this, but he went to New York shortly thereafter, and as you know, he died rather tragically of heart failure, I believe. Anyway, here is my arrangement, approved of by Jerome Kern, of Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. in turn approved of arrangement of Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And now, before I say good afternoon to you, here once again is Dal Williams.
Remember, these fine piano stores are the only stores where each week you can pick up another free lesson in the Felix DeCola piano course. Simply stop in each week, pick up your free lessons, and the following Saturday, Felix DeCola personally conducts the lesson for you. Lesson number 4 is now available. It's yours free while supplies last at these stores. In Sherman Oaks at Ham's. In Studio City, Netzo Pianos. In Burbank, Joe Riley Music. In Glendale, the Glendale Music Company. In Pasadena, the Gould Music Company. In Alhambra, the Gould Music Company. In West Covina, Keynote Music Company. In Riverside, Cheney's Music House. In Santa Ana, Schaefer's Music House. In Long Beach, McCreary's. In Inglewood, Graham Piano Company. In West Hollywood, Lester Piano Distributors. And in Los Angeles, at Manning's Piano Company. Remember, supplies are limited. Be sure to stop in at your first opportunity to get your free Felix DeCola piano lessons. And now here for a final word is Felix DeCola.
Thank you, Dal Williams. Before I say goodbye, I would like to thank Felicity and Buddy, my youngsters, for sitting in for Joe today. And here is the Union in Vienna, and I hope it means reunion next Saturday. Incidentally, this is reprinted on the back of Lesson 4, which is now available. Good afternoon, have a pleasant weekend, and drive carefully.
Stay tuned for Rinse,